Bulls Nation, today we had our last game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we are 1-2 against them this entire season, and we'll no longer face them. The Chicago Bulls lost this game 121-105, and overall what was pretty much from start to finish an absolute massacre by the Cleveland Cavaliers put onto the Chicago Bulls. And I guess, again, the question I really have to ask is, how is this team, the same team that we versed 2 games ago from the Cleveland Cavaliers, and this result, of course, it was a different result. How is that the same team from then till now? How do we fall so badly against the Cleveland Cavaliers in today's game compared to 2 games ago where we held them to 96 points? The Chicago Bulls are inconsistent, and this is something that has... Again, we've known this for a long time, but this level of inconsistency is something that even I am absolutely stunned by. Again, knowing my team is inconsistent, pretty much the whole year from start to finish, we've been a very inconsistent team. But this is a new level for me, the way the Chicago Bulls played today. From the last game against the Boston Celtics, where we actually played terrific defense, we held them, we gave them turnovers, we basically forced the Boston Celtics to lose that game rather than us winning the game. Same with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Literally in 2 games ago, we did the same thing to Cleveland. We forced turnovers against them, we made them miss shots, and we only held them to 96 points. This Chicago Bulls team is the exact same team that we played against the Cleveland Cavaliers 2 games ago. And this was the exact same team that held the Cleveland Cavaliers to 96 points. This was the exact same team that held the Boston Celtics to 96 points. Yet in today's game against Cleveland Cavaliers, only 2 games after we last faced them, we ended up getting destroyed in this game. And I truly mean, by every sense of the word, destroyed by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Again, 121-105. I don't really care about the Bulls last quarter. I understand. Look, we outscored them by 11 in the last quarter. I really could not care less about the last quarter. In the end, it was already a lost cause from the first quarter, pretty much since the beginning of the game. And again, I can go through every single quarter of this game except for the fourth, to be honest. And I could tell you how the Chicago Bulls played, and I could tell you all these things about the Chicago Bulls. But in the end, none of that really matters, because we have shown once again this team is inconsistently bad. It's so frustrating how inconsistent we are. It brings pain to me to see how inconsistent we are. I want to talk a little bit about the actual game itself. So in the first quarter, it was men amongst boys. It was boys against men here. The Chicago Bulls looked absolutely lost. We were literally running, chasing the Cleveland Cavaliers all around the first quarter. 34-12. We talk about inconsistent quarters with the Chicago Bulls. We talk about the struggles that we have in certain quarters. The first quarter was the problem today. 34-12. We only scored 12 points in the first quarter. Oh, the pain that I saw. And again, every single shot was a miss. Satoransky, Vucevic, Patrick Williams, every single shot was missed by every single player in that game. I mean, we went nearly six minutes without scoring in that first quarter. And of course, that was the beginning of the end already. After that first quarter, I think many people would have clicked off that game. And again, I wouldn't blame you. I don't blame you if you clicked off this game knowing that this was the level of performance the Chicago Bulls were going to bring. Night and day performance from the last game against Cleveland to this game. It was absolutely dreadful how we played this game. And to be honest, those players should be very ashamed themselves. And I'm not talking about the offense. In the end, the offense, we're a talented offensive team, and shots weren't falling. I don't really care about the offense. It's the defense. How do you go from keeping 2 teams in consecutive games to 96 points, to giving up more than 96 points within 3 quarters of basketball? How, as a basketball team, do you let that defensive intensity that we've been praising for 2 games now, even 3 games against Memphis that we lost, we've been praising this defensive mentality. We've been praising that defense wins games. Garrett Temple says in interviews that defense wins games, and then you go and give a defensive effort like that. How can you say with a straight face that we're a better defensive team, and then you give a performance like that to us, the fans, the Chicago Bulls fans? It's disgraceful. Where is the level of standards with the Chicago Bulls? How do you go from being such, I wouldn't say even a good a good performance against Boston. But how do you go from being the team that outworks a team, being a team that works harder than the team that we're versing, to being a team that doesn't try? That's truly how I felt in today's game. I felt like the mentality of this team was poor from the very beginning. I thought once we let the Cleveland Cavaliers get to that 10-point lead very early on, we've given up already. The game was over after that. We did not try. Very few players can I truly say tried in this game. Really, like with my whole heart, truly, very few players I could say that actually played was that tried. Really, that's truly how I felt. This starting lineup was absolutely dreadful for the Chicago Bulls. And again, the bench had to pick up a lot of the trash that our starters had in the game. In the end, there's a lot of things that I could say. There's a lot of individual performance I could target out. There's a lot of effort plays, a lot of 50 second chance opportunities, 50-50 balls. I could talk all about that and how the Chicago Bulls lost in damn near everything. But the fact of the matter is, I would only be repeating myself of what I've said over the last few games. Again, 2 positive games, 2 positive videos. A negative game against the Cavs reminds me of the Orlando Magic game, reminds me of the San Antonio Spurs game, reminds me of the Philadelphia 76ers games. I can name all these games because the fact of the matter is, all those performances are similar to this performance here. And we could give the excuse, oh yeah, Zach LaVine wasn't playing. In the end, Zach LaVine doesn't play, the Chicago Bulls will lose. Clearly we're a better team with Zach LaVine. To be honest, that excuse would work 10 times better if we didn't go and beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 2 nights or 3 nights ago. That excuse is not valid for the Chicago Bulls. This is simply a poor performance by a team that really does give away opportunities, really does give away wins, really does to make it embarrassing to support them in many ways. And I don't feel embarrassed to support the Chicago Bulls. Again, I love this team. I love the Bulls. I wouldn't say I love this team, but I love the Bulls. And the Bulls, again, are very big in what I do. What I do in my daily life. I've watched every single Bulls game this season, and I've tried my best to review every single sports game, every single Bulls game this season. And I think I've done every single Bulls game this season. You guys can check if I'm wrong or right on that. But for the most part, nearly every single game this season I've talked about for the Chicago Bulls. The positives, the negatives, the ups and the downs. I've been through it all. A lot of these fans have been through it all. But how are you going to absolutely discredit your last 2 performances by giving a performance like that? Boston Celtics game made me truly happy because we were playing with that intensity and fight. We were playing with that last breath kind of game where everything was going to matter. Every single possession was our last. And we truly played like that. But in this game, we played like the season was already over for us. I don't get it. How in a 1-game turnaround can you perform so poorly and then in the end you end up doing that? I'm stunned. I'm truly stunned with this performance by the Chicago Bulls. I really am. I'm kind of lost for words here. I don't really know what to say. I'm thinking about just ending the video here. I don't know what to say about the Chicago Bulls. I don't want to target individual players because in the end, this team in itself was not good today. It was not good. I refuse anyone that telling me with a straight face that the Chicago Bulls played well today or that we did well coming back. In the end, comebacks or not, I don't really care. We made our comeback in the 4th quarter in garbage time minutes. I don't care about that. I've never cared about that. What matters to me now is that the Chicago Bulls are wasting their opportunities. In the end, the table is going to be what it is. We still have opportunities coming up to win games. We still have, the momentum. I wouldn't even say momentum. I don't know what we have, but basically we have the opportunities. The opportunities are in our grasp still. This game doesn't change that. But in the end, we could talk about the play-in tournament. We could talk about missing the playoffs. All of that to me now, when you see a performance like that, all of that becomes irrelevant for this video. All of that becomes irrelevant. The play-in tournament, whether we make the playoffs, we miss the playoffs, 1st round pick, lottery pick, doesn't matter. When you give effort the way the Chicago Bulls gave effort today, that beyond itself is the only thing I'm going to talk about. That is the only thing that should be mentioned because that is poor from the Chicago Bulls. I'm talking about all the players here. I hate the mentality that we had, how we were just screaming at the refs, how every time something didn't go our way, we turned our heads down, we let them score, we let them continue to get open shots every single possession. I hate that mentality. And in the end, I thought that was something that we kind of went away from. But in the end, I guess the inconsistencies of this team once again has shown, and I've been fooled again by the Chicago Bulls. I don't know what to say. In the end, this is another game where I want to forget. I want it out of my mind. I want it gone from history. But again, history will never be removed. The Chicago Bulls will have to accept that this loss is a bad one and one of the worst ones of the season at that. Once again, we are talking about one of the worst losses of the season for the Chicago Bulls. I don't know how many times I'm going to be able to say that for them to keep on making it the worst loss of the season. Because again, this loss is bad. This was an opportunity to win the game. Again, I'm not going to be upset if we lose to the Cleveland Cavaliers in a close competitive game where both teams played well and both teams really wanted to win. In the end, 80% of the Chicago Bulls games, 80% of the NBA games are going to be close. Not every game is going to be a blowout. In the end, if you expect every single team to blow out another team, you're going to be disappointed. I like when the Bulls compete. And in the end, if we compete and we lose, that's the part of the game that you like. That's the part of the game that we all have to deal with. We compete in games and we lose. But when you don't compete in games, and better yet, when you don't compete in games where teams are considered worse than you, the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think many people, maybe outside of Cleveland, obviously, Cleveland would obviously think they're a better team than us, and so far they've won the season series, so they have the bragging rights against us on that. The Cleveland Cavaliers fans might think they're a better team than us, but I think the majority of people, when they look at the teams, say that we have a fairly better team than them. And you go out and give a performance like that, again, very similar to the Orlando Magic. We don't have a better team than these teams. Or if we do, we're simply not showing it. We've obviously not gelled well enough. Obviously the chemistry's not there or something. But I'm not making that excuse anymore for the Chicago Bulls. We've had a lot of games to gel. We've had a lot of games to communicate. We have a lot of games to play still. And we're going to keep on giving this excuse that Chicago Bulls don't have the chemistry. In the end, chemistry only takes you so far. Effort is a completely different thing. If you don't have chemistry with your team, you need to bring the effort to make sure that that makes up for the lack of chemistry. When you don't bring either, you're done. You're finished. And this game shows that. We were finished in this game in the first quarter. The turnovers in this game, absolutely dreadful. I couldn't believe how many turnovers we actually committed in the first quarter. And again, I have to give full praise to Cleveland here. In the end, the Cleveland Cavaliers played great offensive basketball and defensive basketball as well. They played an all-around terrific game. And in the end, sometimes in the NBA, that's all you take. When the Chicago Bulls had as bad as a game as they had in today's game, when Cleveland come out and play the way that they play, a blowout was bound to happen. Let's be honest. It was absolutely bound to happen. So I give praise to the Cleveland Cavaliers, their players, and obviously I'm sure their fans would absolutely love this. And I just want to say also, in terms of Cleveland, I believe their head coach had personal issues. And again, I don't know what those issues are. I don't think anybody knows what those issues are, but their head coach did miss the game today, and hopefully those personal reasons, he'll be back from them sooner than later. Again, you're part of the NBA. This NBA, it is a big family in many ways. So when one person gets hurt, when one person gets injured, when one person has personal reasons, it affects the entire NBA. It affects the Cleveland Cavaliers. Therefore, it affects the NBA. So hopefully that gets better soon. And of course, there was an injury with Denny. Hopefully that gets... hopefully he can recover from that and come back better than ever. Again, all these things, I'm mentioning them because I've heard about them while this game is happening, and I just wanted to give my support to those people and to those teams involved. That's all I really have to say. Again, I want to forget this game. I don't really know what else to say about this game. I could be honest with you, I did not watch the fourth quarter of this game. I had it on in the background, but to say that I was watching it, I'm going to be lying. I'm not even going to lie to you. I wasn't watching the fourth quarter of that game. It was on in the background. I could hear the game. I could hear people shooting. I can hear the commentators. I could hear all of that. But I wasn't watching that game. It was painful to watch. It is always painful to watch. If the Chicago Bulls are going to lose any game, it needs to be a competitive loss. I don't like this shift of mentality. I don't like the fact that we looked so different in 2 games. If we lost this game and we were competitive, I would have much rather accepted that as the loss that we take, where we're still playing defense, where we're still competitive, but Cleveland just outplayed us. I'd much rather have that than the Chicago Bulls bring no effort, turn the ball over every single possession, allow Cleveland to get to fast breaks. We're not running back. We're not doing any of the basics that the Chicago Bulls and any NBA team needs to do. And that is the frustrating part. This is a professional basketball team. At the end of the day, there is no excuses in the world that can save the Chicago Bulls from a performance like this. Zach LaVine being out is not a good enough excuse in my opinion. And again, I'm just completely shocked that within 1 game, we're beating the Boston Celtics and we're keeping them to 96 points. One of the better teams in the NBA, 6-game win streak. We silenced that. We beat them. We were the team that ended their 6-game win streak, their best win streak of the season. And then we go to the Cleveland Cavaliers, a team that we literally beat 2 games ago, where we were so competitive, where we got stops, and where we made Cleveland struggle in the paint, perimeter, everywhere. And that's the team that ended up absolutely demolishing us, showing that we don't have defensive presence, showing that every single game is different. That's the lesson I've come out of this. Every single game is different. I can no longer expect the Chicago Bulls to perform or to compete in every single game. Usually at the beginning of the season, first half of the season especially, we competed in almost all of our games. There were very few games where we got blown out in the first half of the season. Obviously, the game that comes to mind that we did get blown out in is the Milwaukee Bucks, which, surprise, surprise, we have twice this for the rest of the season. We only have a few games left. We got the Bucks twice. We got the Nets twice. We got the Hawks coming up. We have a bunch, and I truly mean it. We have a bunch of very hard teams coming up. So we've wasted the opportunity, but not only that, I think we've wasted a chance to make the play-in tournament. Now, of course, in saying that, we always have the opportunity, we always have the chance. We are currently 10th in the Eastern Conference. The Raptors won today. I don't know if their games actually counted towards the table that I'm looking at, but the Raptors beat the Nets today, and the Wizards lost, I believe, to the Warriors. So it is what it is. You're going to have to take this on the chin, aren't you? We have to take this on the chin. I'm sure many people are upset, as am I upset. But again, to say my emotion is, yes, I'm upset. But I'm not shocked. I really am not shocked. I truly believe you can walk into any Chicago Bulls game and you don't know which team's going to show up. And the surprising part is we played like we were the younger team today. We're not the younger team. We maybe the very first game we versed against Cleveland, we could say, oh, we're a young team. We're a team that's inconsistent. We're gonna grow together. We're gonna have the potential of Wendell Carter, potential of Larry Markkinen starting, potential of obviously Kobe White starting. We had that starting lineup playing. Thaddeus Young, Satoransky coming off the bench, Garrett Temple as well. In the end, we're a young team with very few veterans. We don't have too much leadership, and we don't have too much, I guess, veteran players that can win now. I can't say that anymore. We have a very, very veteran-based team at the moment. I mean, look at the veteran players that we have. Daniel Tice, Nikola Vucevic, Garrett Temple, Denzel Valentine. I would even consider Larry Markkinen as a veteran these days. It's his 4th year here. He's definitely not a young player anymore. Thomas Satoransky, Thaddeus Young, even a player like Archie Diacono, Al-Farouq Aminu, Felicio. Players that got minutes today. Veteran players that have been in the league and been around the league for a long time, and that's the performance they give out. That's the veteran players that are playing in today's game. Of course, we do have the Kobe Whites and the Patrick Williams, and I guess you could put Larry Markkinen in both categories in many ways. You have those players, and again, those players are young, upcoming, hopefully highly potential and highly gifted players that will end up performing well for the Chicago Bulls. But outside of that, this team is very, very experienced. And that's the performance they've given out to the Chicago Bulls. So there's no upside in this game, in my opinion. There's no upside. There's no high praise. There is nothing in terms of, okay, they're young. They're going to get better. The only thing you could say is they haven't played many games together. And that would be a lie. So in the end, I don't know what to say about this game. I'm going to have to move on from it. The Bulls' record is 24-34. The next game is against, I don't even know who our next game is against. I believe it's the Charlotte Hornets, yes. A back-to-back. And to be honest, if we're going to have a chance against the Charlotte Hornets, the Charlotte and Bulls have had competitive games for many years now. Of course, we all remember that buzzer beater in the last season for Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine's not playing in this game. I need effort. I need effort. I need defensive presence. I need effort from this team. If we win or we lose that game, all I want to see is the Chicago Bulls players to actually give a damn about the game that they're playing and actually play some defense. Actually show some pride on that end. I want to see the games that we had against Boston. I want to see the games that we had against the Cavs. Those 2 games where we won those 2 games against Cleveland and against Boston. Those 2 games were the games that really made me proud because we actually looked like we gave a damn. We actually looked like we wanted to be in the playoffs. This game was terrible. And I'm going to put it down to the fact that we're inconsistent. And in the end, I'm not going to give no excuses to this team. We were shocking and we were bad and we deserved the ass whipping that we got to us. And that's exactly what we got. But you need to show some pride here. There needs to be an element of fight in you. I don't want to see the Chicago Bulls' heads drop after every single bad thing that goes against them. That's not what I want to see. That's not the mentality I want, especially from the so-called leaders in the team. I don't want them to drop their heads. I don't want them to pout. I don't want them to complain. Just play the game and play it the right way. Don't allow teams like Cleveland, don't allow any team in the NBA to come in and embarrass you the way that you've been embarrassed. And again, it's happened too many times to count now. So I'm not shocked. I'm disappointed. I'm upset. Of course I am, but I'm not shocked. And in the end, I think for the rest of the season, whatever happens to us, I'm not going to be shocked. If we go ahead and we blow out the Hornets next game, very unlikely, I'm not going to be shocked. Because in the end, I just don't know what this team is. And I don't think I will know this season. So we're going to have to wait and see. In the end, I'm sorry for ranting. I just don't know what else to say. We're 10th. I don't know if that's going to mean anything by the time this video is uploaded. I don't know if we're going to end up being 11th or 12th or whatever the case may be. But we've wasted an opportunity to win a game. We've allowed Cleveland to come in within distance of that 10th seed as well. So their season is not over by any stretches. In the end, it was terrible. It was a terrible game. And once again, fair play to Cleveland for playing both sides of the basketball very, very well. Again, Cleveland, for a stretch, was going through some really, really, really impressive games in the beginning of the season, the first half of the season. And it reminded me of that. That was the Cleveland Cavaliers team that we versed. So I want to give praise to Cleveland. I don't want to discredit them at all. But I just thought the Chicago Bulls could have done a lot better than that. I really do believe. I think their mentality got in the way of their performance. And I thought that their mentality was weak. And I think that if you're a professional basketball team that has intentions of winning, you need to have your mentality straight first. The performances will come and go, but the mentality of winning is what's going to remain. If you have the mentality to win and you work hard to win those games, you outwork teams, you will get your wins in the season. But when you get outworked and you have the mentality to drop your head and to accept defeat and to accept the ass whipping and not fight back, this is exactly what you get. So, of course, the Chicago Bulls deserve this. And hopefully, again, Billy Donovan always says it after an ass whipping that we need it. Maybe we do need it. But next season, the next game needs to be a different story. All I can say is let's hope it is. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I'm not even going to edit this video, to be honest. I'm going to keep it up front with you. By the time you get to the end of this video, not everyone would have known that already. So have a wonderful day. I'll see you in another video. Yeah, we got the Hornets next. Again, disappointing times. In the end, you have to take the downs with the ups. It's not all sunshines and rainbows. Every win is a good win. You're all obviously happy. But if you can't talk about the bad times, if you can't face the music when we're down and out, eventually, who knows when it will be, when we are winning and when we are competing against these better teams and when we are making the playoffs comfortably, all these situations are down the line a few years from now, eventually when this team does become in that conversation, it's going to be so much better. So again, support this team when we lose. You don't have to watch the games. I don't really know. Many people, at the end of the day, League Pass is too expensive for many people. They probably can't watch the games, including myself, to be honest. The NBA League Pass is ridiculously expensive. So, in the end, I don't know. I'm rambling, to be honest. Just support your team when they lose. So when there are times that they win, it'll become even better for you. When you get to celebrate those victories, it will become better. But again, To say that it feels good to support this team right now, or like to say that this game against the Cavs was a good game, and like I'm super excited to see this team continue to play. It is at the moment I feel a little bit upset. I definitely don't feel like this is the best time for the Chicago Bulls. In the end, the last 2 games were great. This game was not. Hopefully the Hornets, we can pick it up again. Take care.